Welcome to week 5 in your online general psychology course. It's hard to believe we're already a quarter way through the semester, but here we are, the end of September and week 5. This week we will cover chapter 3. Chapter 3 is all about the biological foundations of behavior. So in this chapter we will explore parts of the brain. We'll look at the nervous system and the breakdown of the nervous system. I'll introduce you to neurons and how they fire and communicate with each other with neurotransmitters. And then also some other parts like the endocrine system and just the interaction of the brain with the body. So if you like biology, this is your chapter. If not, it's important. If you don't love this, I think you will have a better appreciation for the brain and how that is the foundation of where our behavior begins. So let's take a look at this week's module. So you have your narrated PowerPoint. I have done a micro lecture on the neuron, so I have taken the neuron and broken it down into more specifics, go into further depth than I do in the PowerPoint. So if you need a little extra understanding of the parts of the neuron and how the neuron works, that's here for you. And then let's take a look at your assignments. I'm going to come back to the psychological perspectives. Let's look at what's in Connect first. So remember, I hope by this point you understand that even though it looks like there's a lot of assignments, that for several of these, they are just a few questions long. So you have an APR on brain structure, another APR on neurons and the role that they play in Alzheimer's disease, and then an interactivity on the neuron, and then your chapter 3 quiz. Okay, so those assignments live and connect. 1, 2, 3, and then your quiz. In addition to those, and remember, in the past, some of you have accidentally missed the assignments that maybe are not in Connect because you go into Connect and kind of stay there and forget to come into the module maybe. I'm not sure what's going on, but I just want to remind you that you have this assignment that's really important and it is not in Connect. So make sure you're linking to it from the module. So this will be a measurement of your student learning outcome number 3. And I'm going to click on that here. You can read all about it. But basically, up to this point, I've taught you about the different perspectives in psychology, such as the biological, the evolutionary, psychodynamic, behavioral, cognitive, humanistic, and sociocultural. So whenever you see paradigms of psychology or the different perspectives of psychology, these are the lenses that we are talking about. This is how a psychologist who practices in that field views concepts through their perspective or paradigm. So what I want you to do is pick one of those, and you'll do one for each of them. Let me back up there. For each of these, what I want you to do is pick one famous psychologist. There we go. There's the one. So pick one famous psychologist from each of those areas and tell me a little bit about that psychologist and a little bit about the belief of these different paradigms. And then how would that psychologist working with someone who has depression through the lens of those different paradigms treat depression? Okay, so I'm hoping that with this assignment that you have an appreciation not just for what those different paradigms believe or think, but how that affects their application. So in this case, think through the lens of biological, for instance. That's write about that a little bit, just a summary. I'm not looking for a long paper here, but basically, couple paragraphs for each perspective, okay? Or maybe one paragraph, but make sure that you're just answering all areas here. I've given you an example down here to kind of help you understand this a little bit further. So make sure you look at this. And then you just have some information here. Now, this is one where you probably are going to have to do some research. You can use your textbook. You can go into some articles. You may even need to do a more general search with something like Google Scholar to get some information about a psychologist, to find that psychologist for each perspective. Your book, the PowerPoint, is a great place. You may need to go back to chapter 1 to see a little bit more information here, which is totally fine. But what I want you to do is, if you do use a resource, make sure that you cite it and make sure that you're using APA citation. So far, you've done a great job. I've shared with many of you who've reached out or who may have needed some help in the past with APA citation, that if you go to OWL Purdue, OWL.Purdue, and if you Google that, OWL stands for Online Writing Lab at Purdue University. It is an excellent, excellent source to understand how to cite. They give you examples for everything that you could possibly think about citing in APA format. So again, we're practicing it. It's not a large part of your grade there, but make sure that if you are citing something within your paragraphs, that you provide the full citation at the end of your paper, and make sure when you list those citations that you do them in alphabetical order. So those were a couple things that have been commonly missed in the past. So reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you with this assignment. So remember, in addition to this assignment, you have 3 Connect assignments and your quiz for this week. All your assignments are due by Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoy this last few days here of September, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Take care, everyone.